show these suckers how to ball out here. Oh, man, let me get this together here. Oh, layup. Oh, no. Shot. Oh, three. Oh, it's like Brick City out here. Mid-range. Oh, my goodness. I can't buy a bucket out here. I missed the whole damn basket. Oh, my goodness. What's going on, man? My game is looking trash. Oh, here we go. Black Power Media shirt. Now we cooking. Tree. I'm taking on 3 of y'all with these right here. Between the legs. Oh, my goodness. Behind the back. Layup. Oh, did he just do a reverse? He is in beast mode out here. I ain't got to look. It's falling. Oh, my goodness. This guy is going 3, 2, 1. Kobe. Nice. Black Power Media, baby. Nice. Empower yourself. Go get you some of that Black Power Media gear right here at blackpowermedia.org. Yeah.
I mix what I like. Hey, what's up, world? Welcome to another edition of I Mix What I Like right here at Black Power Media. Again, I'm Jared Ball. Very happy to be your host. Greetings, grand rising, all that good stuff. To everybody who's joining me live, to those who will see and hear this later, peace. Welcome to you as well. Definitely do all of the things, all of the buttons, everything. Might be a little bit of a short show today. Maybe, we'll see. But we'll do, have fun with it regardless. And yeah, all right, let's go. Let's get into it. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I hope everybody checked all the content. Yeah, I just, at least, show some love is a little bit, it's still not, so much violence. I know it's a lot of, likewise, Tafari, peace. I'm as well as could be expected. Yeah. Hope you all are as well. Shout out to, Millennials Are Killing Capitalism. I appreciate that they had me on their platform again recently. Please go definitely check that out. If you haven't already, it was a fun and good time, and stay tuned because I'm also popping up on Hood Communist Podcast sooner than later. So shout out to them as well. And I appreciate it. It's always a good time. Like I was saying, I hope everybody checked out Sundays and the Warrior class and all of the good things that I have not caught fully up on yet. Yeah, definitely support the rest of the platform. From what I did see of both, they were dope. I just haven't had a chance to fully take in the whole thing. So I'm looking forward to catching up on that content. I definitely wanted to been in touch with and even done some work with this brother over the years. I guess like a non-traditional political prisoner in the sense that he didn't start off as one, somewhat of my generation. Cat in Virginia, gets caught up in the drug game, gets locked up, becomes politicized, and his time in prison has gone fully left, both politically and off the rails as a result. So I want to share some latest. We just continue to get some unfortunate news. Kevin Rashid Johnson is reported in San Francisco Bayview, has been diagnosed with cancer. This is some of his art here, very reminiscent, obviously, of Emory Douglas's art. He says here, on July 1st, I was informed by a prison doctor here at Virginia's Nottoway Correctional Center that I had tested positive for prostate cancer. This diagnosis came after I had been left for months by NCC medical staff with known blood test results showing that my PSA, prostate specific analysis levels, were extremely high, evidencing likely prostate related illness. So in general, I just want to encourage Black men in particular, but everybody to stay on top of that. a number of people in my associated associated extended circles, my generation, have been taken out by this already. And just somewhat to personalize this, because I just had my PSA levels checked last week. And I admit, though I've been, because it's an uncomfortable thing, these prostate exams are not comfortable. So when the doctors are saying, we're happy, apparently the newer way is to get these PSA levels before the actual rectal exam, which, I don't think anybody's excited about. You get these PSA tests, and now that I've crossed 50 every year, and is the thing. And he says here, that is, Kevin Rashid Johnson said in October of 2021, he had a reading of 14.3, way above the norm of 4. And I was very happy to see that my own, because 14.3 is crazy high. Mine came back at 0.04. So I was very thumbs up on that. But my glucose levels were high though. So a shot, just a quick nod to vegans. It's not like we could just go vegan and chill. You got to pay some attention, particularly as you get older. And I'm still learning a lot about it, but so this is not medical advice. We're going to get to what is not financial advice. Don't worry, coming up. But oat milk and oats are off the chart with what they have called super sugars. And I think this is what has done me. So I'm off the oats and the oat milk. And the glycemic index is way, 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 way up. And I have to think that's it, because I don't drink that much. We joke about the Uncle Nearest, but I haven't had a sip of the Nearest in this whole calendar year. So you got to be careful with that, because beer and liquor are vegan. Yeah, props to the vegan diet, but again, it's not an all, you still got to be careful. So, oh, and when I looked at the glycemic, I forgot the number exactly, but the oats is the oat milk in particular too, way, way, way up. So got to get back on the almond milk, for sure. And hemp milk. No, yeah, oat milk is no good. Yeah. Oat and then I have tried flax. I'll get on that too. Right on. Yeah, a lot of unhealthy stuff is vegan. So gotta, is whatever. But anyway, when I read this from Kevin and Rashid Johnson's, this was just, and then of course I have, just to continue with these comparisons, I am relatively free and fully insured. So if you're underinsured, uninsured, or locked up, it's obviously going to be a difficult situation. So just want to send, shout out publicly to Kevin Rashid Johnson, whose story is a wild one. And it just goes to show that even if you're not locked up for an initial political activity, your time will not necessarily go any better if you engage in political activity of the most radical kind. So anyway, that was just one thing there. Quick other thing, I've noticed in my YouTube perusals, just a quick comment here. I just wrote this down real quick. One more thing related to Top Gun. Definitely go watch the 2 E3 and Below series now that we've done. But I've noticed that there are some obvious conservatives and some those who would prefer to not be seen as conservative, who keep saying that Top Gun has only done so well, now crossing, I think it's $1 billion range, because it has done what many of these other major film releases have not done by moving away from identity politics. So the argument has become that Top Gun has done well because it doesn't do all the identity politics, which is turning audiences away. And I think that's nonsense. First of all, it's chock full of identity politics. So I think it's interesting when whites and white men and others who are not white are confused by white supremacy, seem to miss that somehow if there's not an overt inclusion or focus on world majority people, that somehow it's absent of identity politics. It's full of identity politics. American, white, male, upper class, militarist, exceptionalism as identity. That was the identity. U.S. exceptionalism, American exceptionalism, white male dominance, with the inclusion of any token black, brown, or women only as supporting roles. So if again, definitely check the E3 and Below series for more on that. So yeah, I mean, it was and identity as American military propaganda is obviously identity politics. So I just thought that was funny. That was all I had to say of that. I just noticed a couple of videos making this reference, and I'm like, all right. One other quick point, quick note to get to. We had a family viewing over the weekend of the new or recently, or new to me, us, documentary on HBO called The Janes. So first, I really wish I had a camera and we could have shared the family discussion that I almost didn't really participate much in. The women had a very interesting discussion. The only thing I want to say about this documentary, it's informative, it's well done, it's spooky in terms of what women have had to deal with and may have on some levels to still deal with regarding abortion. But the only thing that I really wanted to say about this, again, I wrote a note here, a message to media makers. If your only reference to the Black Panther Party or still imprisoned heroes like H. Rap Brown, or formerly known as H. Rap Brown, known as Jamil Al-Amin today, if your only reference to the BPP or still imprisoned heroes like H. Rap Brown or Jamil Al-Amin is to point out their sexism, especially only in passing symbolized imaged reference with zero context, detail, or discussion, then your media is racist and anti-historical. I'm not saying it shouldn't be brought up. I'm not saying it shouldn't be discussed, but if it's not being discussed, that is the patriarchy and sexism in the Black Panther Party. If it's not discussed in the context, for instance, of Sophia Bakari's essay in The War Before, or similarly situated essays or discussions, and if it's only brought up as a background prop to demonstrate the overall patriarchal sexist context that is, of course, very real, it's racist. So that's my only comment on that documentary. And and then to have the only black, there were 2 black women all told, but the only black woman in that section, it was kind of slick how they did this. The first black woman is brought up. She says she couldn't join the Panthers because they're sexist, so she joined the Janes, who then acknowledge their own racism because there's no black women or very few black women involved. And they even get into this whole thing of how the white women were counting on their class and race to support and protect them in their work. And of course they did, because the second black woman that shows up in the documentary points out that she lived right across the street from the Chicago office of the Black Panther Party as a young child. But there's no discussion of what happened to that office what happened to the members of that office. And then when they talk about the police vamping on the Janes, other than a few hours, maybe a day or two in a holding cell, that was it. No assassinations, no COINTELPRO. So you can't just do it like that. You can't just literally show H. Rap Brown on screen with no discussion of what anybody actually said or did, just as a symbol of how the Black Panthers were sexist. And okay, all right. Let's see. I'll probably come back to this separately. I've been doing more work on this, struggling through this crypto chapter and essay, and I did a closer look at the Matt Damon versus LeBron James commercials, both created by Crypto.com, to kind of do I don't know, a kind of textual analysis. And it's pretty fascinating, the style, the aesthetics, and the two narratives that each are tapping into go into those old, some of it is very obvious. I think the white male manifest destiny dominance, and and then they Matt Damon, this very cold white, he literally walks past Columbus, gives Columbus a shout out. So it's all manifest destiny, dominance, And then if you watch it, particularly as I did over the weekend, and right after one after the other, and you look at the LeBron James one, almost immediately after, it's darker, pun intended. It's youthful bedroom, immature, tapping into that Black financial illiteracy. If I had only been smarter, we'd be better off, as opposed to if we had only had a liberation struggle and won one or completed or extended the ongoing one, we'd be better off. All of that is there. But anyway, I'll come back to that. Oh man. Okay, wait a minute. There was one other thing here. Oh, yeah, something else that is somewhat related, but I didn't really prepare anything on it, but I'll have to come back to it another time as well. I just saw it was kind of, for me, breaking news. So we're going to talk about this Investfest, or I'm calling it InvestMESS 2022 here in a second. Two names that were, as I mentioned last time, that were notable for their exclusion for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason might be. I don't know where everybody's cliques and camps are. Was Jay Morrison and Boyce Watkins. So I started to go down a rabbit hole of the latest news, but I don't have the short of it is, apparently Jay Morrison had been in some sort of, or is in some sort of, lawsuit challenge with someone who claims that they were ripped off by Jay Morrison's courses. The guy, in his own video, Tony something, I can't remember, he said he couldn't make it to court that day, didn't know that he had a court date. Apparently Jay Morrison somehow got into court, had the court, and because this dude didn't show up, Morrison won a summary judgment, I think they called it. So it's not like the whole thing is over. But then Morrison went on with Boyce Watkins into this live over the weekend, I think over the weekend, the other day, or whenever it was, last week, I don't know, and went into this whole thing about how he's Teflon, he's untouchable, he's been investigated by the feds, by critics, and he's overcome everything. He's been in Rikers, he's done time for, I think, drugs. He wanted to be clear, for drugs and not scam, not financial hustles. So, he's just Teflon. I mean, it was this wild thing that I thought was indicative of this whole space that we're about to talk about now, of Black capitalist entrepreneurial, the latest version of selling Black capitalism, literally selling Black capitalism as a solution to economic inequality. But it was just wild to kind of to just watch a little bit of what I did see there. So I have to I don't know, maybe I'll come back to that another time as well. All right, so as some of you are seeing, as I made here in the cover here, I'm calling it InvestMESS 2022. What they're calling their annual Investfest. Pictured there on the right is one of the co-founders of Earn Your Leisure, wearing his assets over liabilities t-shirt. And of course, they've enlisted Charlemagne the God and Steve Harvey as part of the promotional spokespeople to sell Black capitalism as economic solutions. So I thought of Steve Harvey and Earn Your Leisure's relationship as sort of the updated version of what I had written about a little bit, or looked at a little bit, for the myth of Black and propaganda of Black buying power, of the role Tom Joyner played a generation ago, being one of the more popular Black media hosts, having cruises, having, again, I think it's been scrubbed. I can't find it, but he used to have, because I still have my notes on it. He had, Tom Joyner, that is, promotional videos where people in his audience would create these testimonies and literally saying to white corporate advertisers, they're targeting those advertisers, these video packages, and they're saying, and literally referring to Tom Joyner as our Uncle Tom. I mean, it's surreal. Saying, Uncle Tom, if he co-signs your product, we're going to buy it. So again, promoting the buying power mythology to attract ad revenue. It was one of the most explicit, and of course, versions of that. And of course, as a result, Tom Joyner was paid mightily. I think at the height he was making 14 million. I think I saw 14 million a year. All right, so, and really all I had planned to do this morning was to play a short clip of a recent video from Earn Your Leisure where buying power is mentioned, and it came up a little while ago on Instagram, but I think it's indicative of all of the problems here. Should we do? You know what? I'm going to come back to that. Let me do it this way. So, oh, by the way, we're going to come back to him too. Oh, it's not on here. Him, pun intended, him 500, who works with them. So let me start with this one. I was just looking around. There's not a lot that I found. So I'm happy to learn more. If people want to send me anything that I'm missing, I'm happy to learn more. But I went and just was looking for a couple of reviews. And I'm not co-signing the reviewer either. Is this Dylan? I make money online, and his family. Is this him? Okay. But there's two reviews I found of Earn Your Leisure University that give a little bit of a background of who the guys that I'm, just in case you're not familiar, because I'm not that familiar. Earn Your Leisure University is a finance and real estate investment course. And then they ask if it's a scam. So just so off the top, an annual membership of $499 or $119 a month. Co-creators Rashid Bilal and Troy Millings, who come out of New York, one of whom at least is a former athlete, college level basketball player, I believe. They've done interviews with Mark Cuban and Dwayne Wade, among other celebrities. They offer real estate information. Where are my notes on here? Here we go. It's $4.99 a year. Is Rashid and Troy legit? Yeah, they know what they're talking about, according to this reviewer. EYL teaches financial literacy, the home buying process, and investment. This is definitely a course and community aimed towards Black people. There's only one testimonial on the sales page. I have no clue if it's legit or not. I've seen people fake testimonials in the past, not saying that's happening here, but it's hard to be certain. So just a little bit there. So they come out of New York. They started in this other one I found. I'll show you here. They started teaching financial literacy in Bronx high schools before deciding that they could do more, obviously, and make more, doing, expanding the reach of their work. Again, I'm not co-signing these reviews. I'm just looking at them for, finding what I could find relatively quickly for some background. They started in 2019 teaching financial classes in the Bronx, New York, when they realized they could do more. Company is based in New York. They both co-run EYL University. Here's Rashid and Troy, or assets over liabilities is like the catchphrase. It's a little bit cheaper now than the $6.99 it apparently started at. But what I thought was interesting about what this reviewer said, and although where are my notes? Oh, there, I got to make them show up. There they go. What I dislike in EYL University, because they ultimately, both of these guys say that they're not scams. They target Black communities. They teach financial literacy courses. So from the perspective of mainstream, pro-capitalist, money-making, Wall Street, investor, online money-making types, nobody has a problem with what these guys are doing. So, and I'm not arguing their cons in the con sense. I'm arguing that Black capitalism itself is a con. But anyway, the sales page for EYL University is promising, but the content itself is a bit fluffy, considering it's all webinar based. As far as I could tell, there's no real curriculum either, just hundreds of past webinars. The business model, it seems a bit odd to include real estate investing with a basic financial education course. People who have money to invest in real estate don't need a financial education course, and vice versa. Again, with the lack of testimonials, despite being in business for 3 years now, I cannot find anyone talking about this program. I found a few interviews with the founders, and again, they talk good talk. I just can't find any evidence that they walk the walk, or at least teach others to do so. So I don't know who can walk the walk, because, again, if the goal is collective change, there are no courses that you can pay for that are going to teach you. You can join organizations and have your cost be the time and maybe the annual, I don't know, $25 to support, I don't know, whatever the little bit to support the organization, like that could be. But the idea that you're going to sign up for a $400, $500, $600 course and learn how to get rich, and certainly you're going to learn how to collectively uplift the entire community, no. All right, so that I just that little bit of so here, let me pull up this clip here from a recent interview that they did, which I thought, again, because buying power is brought up specifically. It's from, I hate when they don't put the exact date there. It's a couple of months ago. It was earlier this year. On their page, they have 865,000 subscribers, so they're doing quite well in these YouTube streets. So I guess, by the way, While we're at it, go ahead and subscribe. All right, so let me start this clip, and then we'll go from there.
People in the space. When I heard the report, slightly surprised.
So Ian Dunlap is there as well. They're interviewing Frank Holland from CNBC. And they're talking about a report that came out earlier this year that I covered as well, and I think in reference to their own Instagram claims, that it noted that Black buying power was increasing, but Black wealth was decreasing. And having apparently not read your boys, no, I'm just playing, but apparently not understanding the situation, that causes confusion as to how buying power can go up as wealth goes down. So let's.
But you've been in this business a lot longer, on the broadcasting side of it. What was your initial reaction to it, and what are your thoughts? Right, because I feel like when we're meeting people, I hear a lot of more people that look like us are actually investing. They have real estate. They're in stocks. Is it a fair assessment of a forecast for the future? What are your thoughts?
I mean, Troy, I'm gonna stop you first off. Good to meet you, man. We're not in the same business, man. You guys are doing some phenomenal work, man. First, you have people learning about things, and you have people talking about things, and then you have people talking to other people about things that are actually meaningful. These are two different businesses. I report on things that happen. I had the fortune of working at CNBC. We do a lot of forward-looking and reporting to put out information that's actionable and investable. But what you guys are doing, man, is really just phenomenal. And this movement you started is amazing. I agree with you, it was disturbing. I think the most disturbing thing is that Black people, sometimes we feel like we're doing better. But when you look at the numbers, and yeah, numbers can lie sometimes, it doesn't really look like that. You know, 50 years ago, more Black people own houses. I showed you the stats right there. 20 years ago, more Black people own houses. Black home ownership has declined by 3% since 2000. And some of that is tied to why we have less net worth, but there are actually some other reasons. Some of it's spending. I mean, I think a lot of us know somebody who just posted a picture from Tulum or something. Spending.
Yeah, right? Frank, so you've noticed.
Yeah, you know.
We are in the same business, Frank. What are you talking about?
Right. Like, you down in Tulum, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have your money in the bank. And another stat that was in that report on the back end of it, every year, Black families accumulate $300 billion less in wealth than white families. Every single year. So that racial wealth gap is growing. A lot of it is inheritance. And I want to speak from personal experience. My mom went to heaven a few years ago. She was an amazing woman. She dropped out of high school to have me. I do have a great dad too. I don't ever want to leave him out. You got to always mention fathers. But dropped out of high school to have me. She was a secretary, eventually worked her way to having a great job in construction.
Hold on a second. I think I'm
nuance I had about finance. So the more you know, the more.
Hold on a second.
But I think it's important, like I said, to just have a more, involved conversation and just like, it's a 60-second or 30.
First of all, just real quick, I thought I had this time stamped, and I think I missed it, so I'll have to find it here real quick. But just off the top, one important correction again to remind people. Two things really. One, I don't think it's, and I think I'm getting this from Diedrich Muhammad. It's not appropriate to call this a gap. It's a divide. The divide exists because for wealth to accumulate among whites, it obviously cannot accumulate among the Black community. So that's just one simple thing. The other thing that people keep messing up on is saying that instead of keeping money in a savings or in the bank, as he just did, we're out here spending. I keep wanting to come back to this. In an economy such as this one, where the wealth is generated based on consumption, a consumer economy, upwards of 75+% of the economy is based on consumption, people spending, buying products. This country doesn't make, it doesn't manufacture, it purchases. It buys what the world manufactures or what American companies have manufactured in other countries. If people don't consume, businesses collapse. So in the same discussion where people will promote Black entrepreneurialism and Black business, they will tell Black people not to consume and to save their money. If you don't consume, the economy collapses, and the people running those businesses and the people working those businesses, they fall, they collapse. We just watched a whole bunch of that happen, and we're watching it happen still. If the goal shouldn't be telling individuals to pay me to teach you how to save and invest. The goal should be, let's organize, assume political power, and reap the reward of everyone's economic activity. It shouldn't be an issue of save versus spend. It should be, if you spend in the economy, you should be rewarded by benefiting from an appropriate cut of the gross domestic product that spending generates. However that comes back could be any number of different ways. Obviously, free school, free healthcare, free housing. We just start there. So anyway, but let me see if I don't want to make
a 30-second just soundbite on Instagram. So I wanted to just bring you on, and then hopefully we can talk about that and then a few other topics. So I will just briefly just go over the stat if anybody is not familiar with what I'm talking about. So the stat was that Black spending power reached a record in 2021, $1.6 trillion. And that's according to the Selig Center at the University of Georgia. Am I pronouncing that right?
Selig?
Yeah, the Selig Center. Yeah,
let's run that back.
Black spending power reached a record in 2021, $1.6 trillion. And that's according to the Selig Center at the University of Georgia. Am I pronouncing that right?
Selig?
Yeah, the Selig Center. Yeah, but I mean, it's University of Georgia. You just said that.
The University of Georgia. Okay. And
the Selig Center, housed in the Terry College, Business College at the University of Georgia in the Bank of America building. Just to even be more specific, authored by attribution singularly by Jeffrey Humphreys, who has not ever responded to my attempts to reach out to him, who's the research I have gone through meticulously in my own work for years, in the Buying Power book. That's where this report, and again, here it is again, being the singular source for both CNBC and Earn Your Leisure. No vetting, and this is how we end up with the confusion you're about to see.
That's up since 2000. It's up 171%. But during that time, Latino spending power is also up 288%. Asian is up 383%, and the overall is up 144%. So that would seem like some level of encouraging news. But what's not encouraging is that, according to the St. Louis Fed, they put out a report on the net worth, and Black net worth is actually down. So that's interesting, because it would assume that if spending is up, net worth would be up too, because there's more money. So what they're saying is that the Black net worth has actually.
Wait, no, I have something.
It's wrong, bro.
Or maybe
he's full of shit.
Has actually decreased by 14% and is $24,000 per family, while the Latino net worth has increased 112%, which is $36,000 per family. The white net worth has increased 6% and is $189,000 per family. So, all right.
So
yes, let's unpack this a little bit, right? So, okay. With this information comes from the Fed, And if you're not familiar, the St. Louis Fed is one of the 12 branches of the Fed. They have 12 branches of Fed banks. And to my understanding, how they actually collect this data is like through surveys. It's like political polling, like kind of similar situation like that, right? So, but how do we come about this number to say, okay, spending is up, but net worth is down?
It's wrong, bro.
That's a little disturbing. That's very disturbing.
Wait a minute. Wait. Did I just hear correctly? I didn't catch this the first time I saw this. Did I just hear the co-host of a 800,000+ subscriber platform selling financial literacy courses for hundreds and thousands of dollars, hosting Investfests, is saying that the Fed determines projections on wealth on surveys? The previous question and confusion around, because that's not how they do it, by the way. That's not how the Fed does it. The surveys, where surveys may be employed, based on my recent conversation with the spokesperson from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, just to confirm, is that the BLS uses surveys for calculating consumption, consumer spending, but do not make assessments on where that spending is coming from, which is part of where EYL's confusion comes from. In other words, the Fed does actual economic research to the extent that, and again, I'm not trying to co-sign mainstream economics, existing banking, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they're not just doing surveys to assess wealth and to project wealth. That's not how the Fed does it. BLS uses surveys for their consumer spending reports, which are incorporated into some amorphous methodology by the Selig Center to spit out these arguments about buying power. So even BLS is not saying, so BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, is not making an assessment of anybody's economic condition. They're not even assessing where the money being spent is coming from. They're only assessing what people report in their surveys about their spending. That is somehow turned into, and the details to the extent that they exist are in my buying power book, by the Selig Center, into some projections about buying power, which they themselves are based on estimates and projections. Those are quotes from the Selig Center's own work. So when EYL says, we don't understand how wealth can be heading to zero while spending power goes up, this is part of, they don't understand the economy. They don't understand the data that they're assessing. And to the extent he does, neither does the CNBC guest. At least he can't share it, that his understanding. But that's the point. So for instance, as I've raised as a possible concern, if spending is coming from people going into debt on credit cards, I think $6,000 was the average Black family household debt for credit cards. If people are, of course, spending on only what they are able and have access to purchase, and if buying power is accurately understood as a measurement of people's ability to spend on other people's products for the purpose of assessing and directing ad revenue, not assessing economic condition. If all of that is understood, then there is no confusion. Then, of course, you could have a situation, as I've been arguing for a long time now, that buying power can go up while wealth and income, relatively speaking, go down, and wealth is headed by 2053 to zero. So it's the misreporting of the concept of buying power and a misunderstanding of how this data is how these conclusions are reached that leads to this kind of confusion here.
Disturbing. I would just assume that it's not enough assets being acquired. Would you say the same thing?
No,
I mean, I think it comes down to
God!
your slogan.
No,
Assets
God,
over
please,
liability.
no! 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 No!
It is not an it is not because people are not acquiring assets, which is I just played by accident in the previous moment. A little while later in the conversation, he contradicts with this whole thing of people don't have the right assets, but they do spend too much. They don't save enough. So how can you accumulate even the correct assets if you're saving? If you're saving?
You're spending that money on things that don't appreciate in value, that lose their value when you drive it off the lot, or in some cases, as soon as you put it on your wrist. You guys are talking about, high end from the dealer watches. But if you're spending on other things that don't gain value,
but again, this goes back to the colonial trinkets that Fanon talked about, or was it Sartre? One of them, that in the colony, people spend on what is available to them. 4 white men have more land in the United States than all of black people combined. So when they make arguments about real estate and all of this, what are you supposed to buy? And as I already read in the previous review, which I agree with, if you have money, if you're in real estate, you have money. You need money to be in real estate. You need big loans. You need capital. And that requires what most people don't have. Most black people don't have. So people who need to spend hundreds of dollars on financial literacy courses, they don't have money to be buying real estate and flipping real estate. And even if they did, that's not a collective answer to a racial wealth divide. Again, because they throw out these numbers of divides and gaps that are measurements of the collective, but then offer very individual, narrow, limited responses through investment and all this other kind of stuff.
Value over time, then your money's going out, but you're not building wealth. It's not even any more complicated than that. And you see the numbers for other people, other groups, I should say. They're spending their money on things that appreciate, whether it's houses, investing in businesses, stocks, crypto, a lot of things you talk about on this podcast all the time.
Question for you, if we can have an honest conversation, do you think that we truly want to be free, and can the racial wealth gap be closed?
Absolutely, man. Like I don't know about all you guys.
Yeah, I don't know this Ian Dunlap character too much, but I hear that question raised a lot in these black capitalist circles. Do we really want to be free? This has been asked to me personally for more than a decade. I have actually almost 15 years now officially been trying to focus on this buying power nonsense. For longer than that, I had been in spaces where this had been brought up and sometimes even debated. And constantly people come up to me when we used to do in-person presentations, or contact me to this day, or quote back and tweet or comment back at me, do we really want to be free? Or asking me, do you really want to be free, Jared? Because your criticism of buying power suggests you don't really want us to be free. And it's such a, even the way he delivered the question, it's such a condescending, smug, I want to be free, so I'm talking investment and house flipping. You don't want to be free, so you just talk that revolution, organization. That's how I do we want to be free? So the guy from CNBC is saying, yeah, we want to be free.
You guys, your backgrounds, but I know I didn't grow up in a house where anybody had a college degree We were probably unbanked before that term even existed. You know, I used to have to be embarrassed and spend stamps at the store sometimes. I didn't know anything about stocks or credit or, you know, much more.
That's the other thing, hustling our poverty, boy. Everybody got to start with how poor they came from. I don't know about you, but I came from nothing, and we didn't. That's not an analysis. That's not an analysis. That's you trying to pad the response, pad the landing of your absent analysis.
In a checking and a savings account, and then you need to try to go to college and be a doctor. That's all the nuance I had about finance. So the more you know, the more educated you become, the more enlightened you are. Not only do you learn about these, you know, these tentpole things like stocks and housing, you learn about other ways to make money, alt finance, real estate, like you're just talking about, watches, maybe even comic books. You were mentioning handbags a short time ago. If you look at companies like StockX and GOAT and Stadium Club, they're getting in the handbag business. They're not doing it because they're losing money. So you have to just broaden your sense of what an investment is. But you
invest in handbags.
The fuck is he talking about?
Invest in handbags.
Start off with the tentpole things: stocks, homes, 401k,
homes,
bonds.
401k.
I know bonds are the most boring thing in the world, and trust me, I don't like them.
All right, so I'm gonna stop it there. That was it. So that's the trajectory of that discussion, and I think if it isn't already in the show notes, I'll put it there, and people can watch the whole thing if they want, and if you want to assess my critique of just this few minutes, that's fine. But they were already headed in the wrong direction. They don't understand buying power. They don't understand how data is collected. They don't understand how wealth is generated, because the argument that a collective, a community, a nation of people can improve its wealth gap and divide by investing in stock and land. I showed just a couple of weeks ago or days ago, what is it? It's something, you know, what the top 10% have 80 plus or 90% of all the stock or something crazy like that. And the top 2% have 80 some percent of the stock. There is no stock to buy that's going to overturn wealth. We're already seeing what's happening with the crypto. I'm not going to do a whole thing on that again today. It's just not, you know, it doesn't, those aren't answers. Those aren't solutions. Right. Because in fact, he called it, he starts off that segment by saying that one of the EYL brothers is saying that it was encouraging news that buying power was up. And then he actually said that we're on the cusp of a financial revolution. And that financial literacy is the pathway to this. So, all right. So that was just one piece. I do want to show one other piece, because also appearing at Investfest apparently is the man known as Him 500, who I don't know what that means, but I have to admit I for some reason like the name. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's another what was my man's name back in the XFL days? What did he call himself? What was his name? And then Spike Lee and then made reference to it in that movie where Andrew Mackey sells his sperm to all the women. He Hate Me. Thank you, KT. Him 500. That reminds me of He Hate Me. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, by the way, if I understood that comment, Ricky, I just jumped that budget needs to. So I don't think I made this clear. I've reached out to Geechee, brother Geechee, y'all. Shout out to him, and I want us to start looking at these folks over the next few weeks. So there's going to be more of this as we assess all of. No, it wasn't Girl 6. It wasn't Girl 6. Which is I actually really like that movie. And shout out to Prince for the soundtrack. I'm talking about Andrew Mackey. I think it was his first film, but the one where he right, She Hate Me, right, of course, because He Hate Me, right, She Hate Me, right. Right, where he sells out his sperm at 10,000 a pop. But yeah. I want us to go through the whole thing because and there's one, but him 500 is going to be there. And I don't know what it is, but I like that name. I don't think he's helpful, but I do like the name. So I should have shown this full thing earlier. So let me just pull this up here just as a reminder. The Earn Your Leisure hosted Investfest. So we're going to look at as many of these folks as we can get to. I just started with the Earn Your Leisure this time because they're the main ones. But there's plenty to say about what Steve Harvey's been saying about all of this. We can, and then I don't know a lot of these people. Budgetnista, that to Ricky's point. So just that one correction from the other day. I think this is the one woman who made the big screen. No, I guess Kiana Watson is there. Kiana Watson, that may be two. And then to be fair, I don't know if this is, I don't know the gender of this person here. Anyway, but yeah, I want to look at his, Miss Diddy, Miss Business, for some reason, I got stuck on this, looking at this earlier. Why is this the car? This is when you're talking to a Black audience about wealth building. Why are you using like a white boy 70s muscle car? I don't know. Maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know cars. I'm not a car guy. Anyway, but let me share this a little bit. So, by the way, I wanted to show the video. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Where was... I do this happens to me too much. I think I'm organized and ready, and I'd just be missing too much stuff. Where did I put this other thing? I had a whole other thing. That was a review of. It was a better like history of. Oh, here it is. It's right here. I got it all the way already pulled up. So I'm going to come back to him 500 in a sec. I could have had this better organized. I admit that. I thought, okay, here we go. This was one of the reviews I wanted to pull up here, because before I show this next clip, I've mentioned before that I have been a subscriber for some time now to not Earn Your Leisure, but the Pocket Watcher with JT, who is a critic of Earn Your Leisure from the perspective of a pro-capitalist Black mainstream financial consultant perspective. So not revolutionary. He does a lot that turns me way off about, basically Black people are poor because you're not doing your money right. But to be fair, what I do like about him is that he's on the flip side. He's saying, Black people, you're not doing what you need to be doing and could be doing better, but I also don't want you to get ripped off by scammers. So that's where our paths cross, me and JT, overlap at least. And he's been critical of Earn Your Leisure for some time. And about earlier this year, I want to say right around wintertime, JT goes, and he did this on his platform. I caught it live. It's now the video I can't show you because it's behind a membership only thing. I thought about becoming a member just quickly and then showing it to you, but then I was like, that's trifling. That's probably YouTube trifling. I don't want to do that. But he's in LA with his wife, and the brothers from Earn Your Leisure pull up on him. And they roll up on him on the street. not with hostility, but not, I mean, you know, there was no violence, but they showed up. And because JT, as he talked a lot about, is about 5'8", they are you know, college athlete height, I think. So he just said very tall. So I'm assuming well over 6 feet. And when you see the picture, you know, which was, it's kind of even hard to like, they're clearly standing over him. And their point was, you're going online, JT, and claiming we're engaged in fraud. And the crux of it was a clip that they had on their platform where him 500 goes through this whole thing about how to scam Navy Federal and get, you know, claim you're getting a loan for a car, taking that money and investing it in something else, and da. But it's basically, as JT was saying, it's fraud. You're defrauding the bank. And for EYL to be platforming this guy and encouraging this as sound financial advice is a mistake. So JT did a couple videos about it. Earn Your Leisure apparently heard about it and rolled up on him. Now, thankfully, I don't have the 50,000 plus audience. I don't want. Because I would not want that. And, you know, especially if I'm out with my wife and, you know, I would not want that in any way, shape, or form. So just FYI, if anybody ever has a criticism of me, just email me. Just send me an email. Don't roll up on me. Even if being friendly, because it's just who wants that? Nobody wants that. But they have this I guess somewhat responsible. You know, JT played the clip because his wife started filming apparently. And so there was some video of it and basically saying, look, I'm not going to back down. You all are giving bad information and I'm calling you out. So they had some work, and I think EYL tried to sue him, get him to take the video down, or I don't know, something like that. And so that's what this story here is referencing. So I just want to share a little bit, and first Biggie versus Pac, now it's EYL versus JT. The short of it is, I got some notes here. EYL started by Rashid and Troy, two friends out of New York who felt the educational system was lacking in many areas, particularly around financial literacy. Starting out with simple podcasts, their brand grew while they launched EYL University, a series of online webinars, courses that teach students everything from building your credit, buying a home, starting a business, investing in stocks, retirement planning, and more. Again, from 1992 to 2012, more than 2 million Black businesses were started, and their total capture of the national expenditure went down to 0.03%. So the issue is not starting businesses. Anyway, the genius behind EYL was that they targeted the minority community, an audience that historically has not invested heavily in financial markets for numerous reasons, and made it cool. Now, this author describes this as genius. I might feel it's more predatory, but anyway, they did this by securing interviews with top athletes and celebrities who are now branching away from sports and music into multiple business ventures. The stories have inspired millions of people, many being Black Americans. And now they almost exclusively do interviews with big time money makers. They even have traveled to Nigeria and London to interview and network with Black communities on an international level. I know this author is Black, and it was just a pet peeve, and just a thing I see happen in films and everywhere. So at least Africa is not, abstracted to a continent. But I don't know. Maybe they went to several places in Nigeria and only went to one place in England. But anyway, but like many famous YouTubers, they've crossed into the space where they can make enough money from ads and sponsorships, even if their investment advice does not work for everyone or anyone. Suffice it to say, these two guys are now well on their way to becoming multimillionaires due to their connections and their YouTube subscribers, ad revenue, memberships, etc. At 800,000+, having gotten a little peek behind this YouTube, Google algorithm, AdSense, whatever. 800,000+ subscribers is a pretty strong financial look. On the other end of the spectrum, you have a growing niche of people on YouTube who buy, rent, try products and services to then provide their opinion on YouTube. JT, that is Pocket Watcher with JT, takes a spin on this to analyze all the money-making schemes on YouTube to expose which ones are legit versus complete scams, although many will complain he never discusses any legit financial programs, only the scams, mainly of Black Americans. To be fair, and I think that is an accurate assessment, JT doesn't talk about the positives because from his perspective, he is a financial planner who has a private business in St. Louis who wants to attract business. So either he has to talk about his own clients, which I'm not sure is a good look, or he's going to talk about the success of other people that he has had nothing to do with. And I think from his own branding perspective, that's not a good look either. More importantly, from my perspective, humbly, I appreciate that he's not here to highlight the handfuls of success stories because there are only going to be a handful. There's only so much content you're going to be able to make about successful Black entrepreneurial and investment, blah, blah, blah. So you're going to have to, there's much more in the scammer space. And I think he does a greater service to his audience and even to me by exposing the scammers than by perpetuating myths and lies about all these success stories that don't exist. So now again, JT, I think is from mine and our perspective on this platform as a conservative. I mean, you know, he's not a, he may vote for a Democrat, but he's still conservative. But he is, but I appreciate what he does. Up to a point. He's done some really good stuff on Jay Morrison and Boyce Watkins. But he's done some supportive, friendly stuff with Kevin Samuels. So he's got called out for that too. So it kind of gives you an idea where he is. And he says that he didn't focus on Samuels in a critical way because Samuels doesn't purport to sell courses on financial literacy. I think that's how JT argued why he sort of kept, I don't know. I think it's because you're going to get a bigger audience if you could get with Kevin Samuels back then. Anyway, JT himself, a Black American and real accountant, does this as a service to the community to help people avoid these scams. While his heart seems in the right place, obviously, it creates a lot of strife for YouTubers, famous and semi-famous, that end up on his channel. So this is the pull-up, and you can see a little bit in the faded background. This is a graph. You can see JT's a little bit shorter. They're clearly taller. They come up on him. But it's members only content now. So I guess I'm glad I got to see it live when he broke it down because it was quite funny. So that was basically, I just wanted to give a little bit more context to what I'm about to show you. And because the origins of that conflict are around what I was just describing was this claim of him 500, who now I want to show you a clip about, at least on one of JT's recent episodes. Again, I don't know why we can't get the exact date, but
all right, here we go. Hopefully this is loud and clear. Here we go.
Right? When you're doing the application, these companies go off of stated
that's him
income.
500.
You're going to add the income. You're going to put a higher number on the income. Okay? Is that your income, $265 per year, right? Except with American Express, because American Express does reviews. When American Express does a review, they'll ask for your tax documents and shut your cars down or drop your cars down to where they should be based off your income.
You're going to put a higher number on the income. You're going to put a higher number on the income.
It's wrong, bro.
Per year.
We good with the funding? You guys understand that part? Right?
All right, one more time.
Application. These companies go off of stated income. You're going to add the income. You're going to put a higher number on the income. Okay? Is that your income, $265 per year, right? Except with American Express, because American Express does reviews. When American Express does a review, they'll ask for your tax documents and shut your cars down or drop your cars down to where they should be based off your income.
You're going to put a higher number on the income. You're going to put a higher number on the income, $265 per year.
We good with the funding? You guys understand that part?
All right. So let me slow that down and give you an explanation.
Anyway, he just goes at because it's obvious. No disrespect to the accounting community, but it's obvious if you lie on an application for credit, for loans, you're moving into fraud territory. And my purpose is that only to show like this is the direction this Investfest stuff is going. Like this is the madness that is getting hundreds of thousands of views, hundreds of thousands of dollars directed towards it, and is inhibiting so much of the work I'm selfishly, narrowly doing, and many of us in our constellation of work here are ultimately doing. Because if that is the basis of an analysis, or if that is a basis of any understanding of the economy, of what to do about it, anything we're going to have to say is going to struggle to be heard. But that's the kind of stuff that Him 500 was doing. That's the kind of stuff he was doing with Navy Federal that got JT mad. They got them pulling up on him and, you know, saying, don't call us frauds, because if we get called frauds, it's going to make it harder for people it's going to make it harder for us to spend our money, to earn our money, to make money. It's going to devalue our brand. So let's just take a little bit more of a look, just a little closer at what that brand is. From earnyourleisure.com, the money plays behind sports, entertainment, and business, assets over liabilities. But their analysis is a liability. So you can watch all of these shows with the money makers. You can subscribe. You can now, of course, where are those courses listed? Was it on this one? Alumni program. Does this website even work properly? I feel like these links don't work. Now, here we go. Where did that take me? I know you all don't see it. This is just their podcast link. All right. So where was the, okay. So let me find it. Let me just find it again. Your Leisure University. Because I did, here we go. I did want to show you this. This is important because we've already seen sort of a summary, like an overview. And I'm happy to be checked if it's an unfair, narrow overview. Assets over liabilities. It's a slick catchphrase, and it's always good to be able to get hoodies, by the way. Get your blackpowermedia.org merch. Invest your future. EYO University is born. 65% off. Oh, graduate school. Is that a new name, or is that like you go to undergrad and then graduate school? Okay, here we go. This is okay. The Homepires Blueprint, $1,000 value. If you join the university today, this is what you get. 17 years mortgage industry, $1 billion funded in homes. Let's see. Usually enrollment is $1,999, but you can enroll in Earn Your Leisure University for just $999 per year, or you can pay $199 a month. So I'm almost positive that if you took $199 a month and invest and just put that in your savings account and let it sit there, that you will do better over time than what you'll do That's just it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a humble Africana media studies professor. But I would bet my money. I would bet $200 of my money that if you put $199 a month into a bank account, like we could do that. We could have, let's see, like I don't know, we could test this. We'll have two people. One person will sign up for their monthly course at $200 a month. The other person will put $200 a month into a savings account and let it sit there. And then we'll see who ends up better off. But today you'll pay $500 a year. That's a huge 75% discount. For the course, for the school. And as those reviews that I read earlier were saying, most of the courses are, I mean, most of what you get are webinars without a curriculum. There's no curriculum. I don't know if that's true, but that's what 2 reviews that I saw said. So I don't know. What I am confident in, though, is that you don't get free. All right, let me take a quick break and then I will come back and look at some of the comments and then we can wrap it up. Questions, comments, thoughts, and then we can wrap it up. And of this edition of InvestMESS 2022.
You are here on I Mix What I Like. You may check us out on imixwhatilike.org, where you can see all these other shows and what my daddy likes and other cool things.
Right on, baby girls. I love my babies. Standard & Poor's S&P fund, 200 a month wins. Okay, all right, I don't know. I am. Anyway, all right, so you all, the chat is on its own. I'm of no value to you all. Shout out to the remix chat. So we can get, cut a little short today. It's all good. Listen, definitely stay tuned. On Friday, we're going to look again more at InvestMESS 2022. I did see on Geechee's Facebook page that there are a lot of, I don't know about a lot, I shouldn't say. I saw 1 or 2 people who are fans of Earn Your Leisure and supporting them, which is cool, but I just thoroughly disagree with what they argue. And again, want to just restate, there is no financial illiteracy problem. And financial literacy for real, or real financial literacy, is understanding political economy. It's understanding how capitalism works. It's understanding communist and socialist criticism. It's understanding colonialism. It's understanding white supremacy. It's understanding the media that function on their behalf. I mean, that's financial literacy. This idea of this constant refrain that is so well supported. And again, algorithmically alone. That's why, again, please do like, share, subscribe, and do all of that stuff, because algorithmically alone, their content is going to get pushed to the top. If you ever just look at our, I should at some point just pull it up, but you just see all the yellow and red flags on our advertising. Like we're not just algorithmically, we're not going to get supported in the same way. So, if you can't support by joining or supporting us at Patreon at blackpowermedia.org, you can at least like, share, subscribe, put this in your social media feeds and all that kind of stuff, and help the channel grow that way.
Message.
And that's that. So anyway, good people, thank you very much again for joining me this morning and supporting, again, Black Power Media. Definitely check out all the other programs coming up. Make sure your bell notifications are clicked so you don't miss anything. And definitely, of course, be back tomorrow morning, same time, 8 a.m. for some more boom bap breakfast with the Remix Morning Show. Salute to all of you. Like Fred Hampton used to say to you, we say peace if you're willing to fight for it. So catch you later. Peace, everybody.
I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.